Greetings Antillians and welcome to Anthill TV. I've got Nathan Wakefield here of Somage Fine Foods. Now, I think it's probably better just for me to say, what is Somage Fine Foods?
Somage Fine Foods, it's a company that is about enjoyment, really. So we create foods of substance, source from origin, we value add them, tell the story of how we got them, and we try and blend them into recipes which taste good.
And then you resell them into largely coffee shops and cafes and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so essentially we would sell it to coffee companies, cafes, retailers. We have our own brands, Carly, Camellia, Amoda. So.
And the business is about 4 or 5 years old?
5 years old.
5 years old? And it came about because you were reselling coffee into coffee shops, yeah?
Yeah.
And you thought, I can do better than this.
You've just nailed the words, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, truth. I was in the cafe environment and I was working as a barista, and I thought, well, I was looking at the drinking chocolates that were being made and the teas and stuff like that, and I'm going, you know what, this is pretty crap. And so I thought from the coffee industry, which is really competitive, I thought, well, I'd have a go at making a drinking chocolate. We did that, and then I just got a little bit educated on what the food industry was, and I thought, wow, you know what, there's so much opportunity here to do high quality, high value products.
It's interesting that the first time you create something, you see how easy it is to extend it or grow it, or it's just that first one that seems to be the very difficult one.
It was a decision.
You'd never studied business or anything like that?
No, I have.
You have? Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Since then or before then?
No, before then. So I don't probably tell the world about this, but yeah, I did a Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor of Economics, Bachelor of Business Marketing with honours at Monash.
And ended up making coffee? Rock and roll!
Yeah, well, it was about me quitting the job. And then, you know, I was working in the corporate environment and I thought, you know what, I could spend the next 20 years in a corporate environment, but I just got to get out. And so I just tried to start my own business, initially an extreme adventure tour company, and then the coffee took over. So
well, you got to pay the bills somehow, so, and making coffee with a barista machine does the job.
Yeah.
But since then, now you're teaching it, or you've been teaching it at RMIT for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I guess nothing like the School of Hard Knocks to make you a teacher. So I've been teaching entrepreneurship for about 2.5 years with Peter Christo. And mainly first...
Founder of Pitch Club.
Pitch Club, give him a plug. Yeah. First and second year subjects, just as a sort of more of a casual kind of arrangement. So.
Because you're like me, you've got your own central venture, but you always like to get involved in other things on the side just to keep life interesting and make sure that you don't get too much sleep overnight.
I think it's got a shorter concentration span.
Yeah, or make sure that you don't get too many weekend days per year. I don't know why we do it. But over this time, so you've obviously built Somage Fine Foods, and it's in something like 800 coffee shops or something like that, and it's now in New Zealand and some other places. Where else is it? So
right now we're in I guess that point of inflection where we're really starting to rock it on. So we use a distribution network of distributors, fine food companies, direct to cafe, direct to retail. We supply around 30 coffee companies. We have companies, coffee companies in New Zealand, in Hong Kong we're supplying cafes. I've got a trip in January to set up distribution in Taiwan. And later in the year, next year, I'll be going to UK to set up France and UK. And
now you're lecturing it, and if you're like any business owner, you've obviously made your own mistakes along the way, haven't we all? Are there any particular things that you would advise your students or other people that are embarking down the entrepreneurial journey not to do? Any common mistakes?
I'll flip that around.
Okay, things to do.
To do, because it's kind of linked. Don't waste your time, which is not to do, by doing anything else than what your life purpose, what you're passionate about. If you've really got that nailed, everything just becomes effortless. If you're trying to work on something that at your core is not really about you, and because, I don't know, I'll speak for myself here, the business journey is as much of a journey of self-discovery as it is about creating a business. So know why you're in it for yourself, and I don't believe it should just be about making money.
I'll tell you what, every entrepreneur who I've ever met that just went in it to make money usually only lasted about 6 months to a year, and then found it all too hard, and then gave up. I think true entrepreneurs are driven by the process of creation, not necessarily wealth creation.
Yep.
That's a very good piece of advice of what to do or what not to do. Both there, isn't it?
Both. What not to do? I would say ignore your gut instinct.
Don't ignore your gut instinct. Mm.
If you do that, it's at peril. Like, yeah.
It's funny that you're talking a lot about emotion and that sort of thing. Now your products that you sell through Somage Fine Foods are, they are conventional things. They're things we all understand. They're things like tea and they're like coffee. But the way that you the way that you promote them and brand them is more focused on the emotional and the nutritional value. What sets those things apart for you?
All right. For me, food's not just food. It's a source of energy, right? And I believe very strongly that from the first hand that touches it to the hand that drinks it, everyone who touches it should have a positive effect on that product. If there's any person in the chain who touches it which has a negative effect, the end result in the product will be inferior. So I'm about going, well, to be honest, it's partly a lifestyle choice as well. Traveling to Origin and meeting with people that I'm passionate about dealing with, really, because it's through that trust that at that very first stage that you know that you're putting the right thing into the soil. So for me, it's really important there's transparency at every single step. So if you look at any of our products, we'll mention the plantation we get it from the spices to the tea, even we'll have a picture of the plantation owner. We're completely transparent on that.
But it's interesting because it also creates a story with every product that you sell. Rather than this is not just a coffee, this is a coffee that came from here, that went to here, that went to here, and this is the passion and the love that's been put into it every step of the way.
Well, because it shows that there's consideration that's been put in.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it also comes down to people at the end of the day, I think they want something which they feel as if there's been an investment of time. It increases the value of it. So if you've just someone who's just taken it from the next person, there's no real investment of that person into the sourcing and procurement of that product or the growing, whatever it is that they're doing. The more that there's a greater level of intention and effort that's gone into that. It just, even if it tastes the same, which I don't believe it does.
Yeah, well, it probably won't just simply, of course, you believe that lots of extra ingredients like love get put into it.
Totally.
But also, there's also just, when people are passionate that it's going to be a better quality all round.
And there's integrity.
You must know it, and integrity. Now, you've got a new product that you're launching in February that you were telling me about.
Iced teas. So we've seen the tea market with Lipton massive, like they totally opened up the iced tea market. And like with all the products, what I tend to do is see products that are existing in the cafe and food service environment and up the quality, up the nutrition, up the flavour. So I'm not going to mention too much about the Lipton's product, but what I'd say is that where our product would differ is that it's made solely from tea, it's made solely from fruit, no sugar. So most drinks, they're motivated by...
Packed with sugar.
They're packed with sugar.
Yeah.
So because of the processing method we're using, where we cold infusing, so the tea, we're cold infusing and pressing the fruit. So therefore, normally when you heat something, that heat, I guess you have to add sugar to balance out the bitterness that's created. We don't need it because it's all cold infused. And we're using a method of pasteurization called high pressure pasteurization. What that will enable is to preserve all the nutrients in the beverage without any use of heat. And so you get this product which actually tastes like tea. So for us is trying to get the association that when we take an ingredient from nature, we preserve it. We try not to destroy it.
Because that cold fusion thing, that's an Australian innovation, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well too. It's very impressive.
Guys at Pressure Foods, I'll give them a plug because I think they won something like the world's best juice.
Yeah,
with one of their drinks at the time.
If you go to the supermarket, check out Pressure Fruit. It's an Australian innovation. It's going to absolutely revolutionise the fruit market. So in February we have this to look out for.
New website. New range of teas. New range of products called Raw Goods as well. We're kind of relaunching, I guess.
I'll let you finish. I mean, with some sound words of advice for anyone who wants to get into
business or
business.
Well, into business, I would say this is, I guess, information I give to my students as well. You're already doing what's within you. So there's already something that you're really passionate about you're doing now. People get this misconception that they can't do what they're passionate about because it won't make them money. My thing is that you will absolutely make money in anything that you pursue, anything. Just that if you have passion about it, if other people see the value in it that you do, then there's going to be value created, and there's just money's just the exchange of that value.
I think we're a bit Oprah obsessed in Australia right now, and I think it was Oprah who I first heard say, work in an area that you're passionate about, and you'll never work again. Oh, gee, I got that wrong. Terrible way to finish, but that's okay. Thank you so much, Nathan. Somage Fine Foods. You've been watching Anthill, putting the ants in your pants.